So, hello, dear students. This class is going to be class in which we will talk about electric flux and the Gauss law. Exactly what is electric flux? Till now, we have learned about electric field. What are these electric fields? These electric fields are emanating from a charge, and they have a property like they can exert force on a test charge or any other charge. So electric field has some physical significance. It is having some physical meaning. These are exerting forces. So, but these electric flux, what are these electric fluxes? Exactly, these electric fluxes, you can visualize this as to be electric field only. Just visualize this as to be electric field. Wherever there is electric field, there will be electric fluxes. So these are also lines, but they are devoid of any physical interpretation. This electric field is associated with the force exerted on some external charge, and electric flux is just depending upon the charge which is producing this electric flux. Okay, there is one electric flux and electric field. Okay, so another one very important property of electric flux is that uh, it do not consider the medium in which it is present. Means if you put a charge in water, if you put a charge in air, if you put a charge in vacuum, it will generate same amount of flux. Okay, but electric field is inversely proportional to the medium permittivity. And this electric flux, this this only depends upon the charge that is producing. This electric flux was a phenomenon that was observed by Michael Faraday, and by a very famous experiment in which he took a sphere and put a known charge onto this. And then he enclosed this sphere with another sphere, uh, which was a dielectric. Okay, this outer sphere could enclose this inner sphere, and then there was another sphere onto this. Okay, so he observed that this this outer sphere and this is inner sphere, that this outer sphere is being induced by an equal amount of charge that is present in the inner sphere, and no matter how what dielectric you put between these two. So the space between this outer space and the inner space were occupied by the dielectric. So he put on many type of dielectrics, but he observed that the amount of induced charges on outer sphere was same. So he concluded that something means these inner charges are inducing some charges onto the outer sphere, or there is some displacement of uh, displacement charges onto the outer sphere. So he termed it as a displacement flux, or just the electric flux. So we can move on from here as we now have understood electric flux. So electric flux are just field lines which do not have the physical interpretation. So here we have defined our electric flux uh, due to a charge. Uh, Let us take a charge or set of charges. Okay. Now this will be emanating some fluxes. Now we take a surface. Okay. So these these charges will be emanating fluxes here. Okay. So here we can define a new quantity, that is d, vector d. This is electric flux density. It means if this surface is having an area A, so the total amount of flux that is coming out of this surface, so phi divided by A, and the direction of D will be the same direction as the electric flux. Okay, so these D vectors will be defined on the surface uh, in consideration. So here this is the surface. So we define here ds. Okay, so this is our ds. Okay, now if we want to just see that what are these fluxes, how much flux is this, then what we need to do, then this this would be simple. This pi will be equal to, if we know d into the surface area. Okay, so but these surface can be termed as vector. This will be having a what will be the this surface? This will be having magnitude as the area, the surface area, and the direction as a normal line to this. So let us say this is our normal line. Okay, so this has to be n, unit vector n. Okay, let me draw this into with a different color. So this we can define as a normal vector. Okay, now so ds and vector n are two different vectors. Okay, so if we want to know that how much ds is flowing in the direction of n, then we know by our previous discussion that we can just take the dot product of these two quantities. Yeah? In the dot product class, we knew that if we want to calculate the amount of vector that is in the direction of another vector, then we just need to take the dot product of these two vectors. So here also we will take the dot product of these two vectors. So this will be, let us take the ds vector as it is, and dot of s, vector s, where vector s is what? Where vector s is having uh, surface area s, and this in which direction? In the direction of the normal vector. Okay, so what this will be? So this will be ds into S cos. If this angle is theta, then we can write it as to be ds s cos theta. So phi is the amount of total flux which is coming out of this surface. Okay. So if we are interested in knowing that how much uh, is the flux coming out of this whole charge, whole set of charge, then what we need to do, we just uh, need to cover all of these charges through a closed surface. Okay, so let us draw a closed surface. Anything it could be. Okay, and then what we need to do, we just need to take a small section, a ds section of on on the surface of this closed surface, a differential surface of this closed surface. So the closed surface, we know the normal we can define. So let us say this is the normal vector to this, and let us say the ds vector is here. So this is our ds vector. What is this ds vector? This is the flux density on this differential surface area. So okay, and this is our surface ds. The magnitude is ds. So we can write the d phi. D phi is what? The amount of flux that is coming out of this differential surface. So this will be what? This will be ds dot the differential surface area. No? Will it be or not? Vector ds is what? Vector ds is having a magnitude ds, the surface area of this differential thing, and in which direction? The direction is the normal to this surface. Now, if we want to calculate the total flux coming out of this closed surface, the total flux coming out of this whole surface, then what we need to do? We just need to integrate this p phi over this closed surface area. We call it closed surface integral. Okay. So we need to know this electric flux density vector at each point of this closed surface. Okay, and we need to know the ds component. Okay, and this integral will give you the total flux. So the total flux which is coming out of this closed surface, so this will be the closed surface integral of vector ds dot ds. Okay, and Faraday told that the total flux coming out of this closed surface will be equivalent to the charge enclosed by this. So this will be equal to the total charge itself. Sorry, total charge itself. The charge enclosed by this surface area. Charge enclosed by the total surface S. The closed surface S. Okay. So we can go a bit further by defining this Q. So Q we can define as rho V into V. What is this? Rho V into V. So rho V, we know this is volume charge density, and V is the volume. So this closed surface is having a volume, and the charges in it are dispersed throughout this closed surface, a closed volume, uh, with a charge density of rho v, this much coulomb per meter cube. Okay, the density is there in the volume, and we if you multiply with the total volume, so this much volume, so we will get the total charge. So we can replace this in our previous formula. So what was our previous formula? So this is ds dot ds vector is equal to rho v p. Okay, so we can uh, divide this whole quantity by v. So what it will do? V is equal to rho. Okay, so this equation is very important equation. This equation is very important because this is called as the Maxwell's first equation of electromagnetic field theory. Maxwell was one of the greatest scientists in the history of science, and he derived some famous four equations. So this equation is one of them. And after Maxwell came Einstein, and Einstein gave his famous E is equal to mc square, and he gave us the principle of time, the four dimensions of time, and time could the four dimension could do uh, this means this equation, this four dimension of time change means many of the equations that were pretty much known to us earlier. But this time, the fourth dimension, could not change Maxwell's equation. So you can feel the weight of this equation. So this is the first equation which Maxwell derived. So this equation you can understand because we have derived it till here. But this is not the form in which Maxwell gave us the equation. He gave in point form. In point form means in differential form. So what he did, he just rewrote that equation because we know that our charges are dispersed throughout the surface. Okay, so so the volume of that charge is taken as delta V, where limit of delta V tends to 0. So this was, yeah, like this. So here we see that this is the total volume. This here it is the total total flux that is coming out of that closed surface. So what he did, he reduced the volume to nearly zero. Means he brought this whole closed surface area. He shrinked that closed surface area to zero, and this is called a divergence of D is equal to rho V. So this is the formula which Maxwell gave us. This is also called as point form of his equations. So this is what is first equation of Maxwell. Okay. So again we can use our the basic equation that our total flux coming out of the closed surface is equal to Q, and Q can be termed as rho V dV, where we can integrate our this differential volume to the whole volume. So previously we were shrinking this volume, and now what we are doing, we are taking the whole volume. Okay, so what we can do, we can just find the charge density in each point, uh, which is enclosed by this closed surface area, and now we are integrating this whole charge density throughout this volume. So here it is. Now this rho v can be written as divergence of T. I will tell you what is divergence and all, but let us complete this derivation first. So this is it. Okay. So this is called Stokes law. Stokes law, and you have studied this Stokes law in your 12th, but you might not be remembering that. So what is this Stokes law? Just see this, observe this equation. Towards your right side, towards your right side, towards your left side, you can see that this is a surface integral. Means any surface, what are the dimensions which makes a surface area, which makes a surface? The dimension is 2. No? Any two dimension will make a surface. And onto your right hand side, you see it is what it is. It is volume integral, and a volume is made of 3 dimensions. So you need all 3 dimensions to calculate the right side integral. Okay, and you just need to have 2 dimensions to calculate your left side integral. So which method you will derive? This both are equal to q. No, both is equal to 2q. No? Here, what we are using here, we are using just a simple surface charge density, and we are multiplying. We are integrating throughout we are integrating throughout the volume. This we got rho v, and we multiplied that by with the volume. This is simple method, and here we are taking the Gauss law. What is the Gauss law? Gauss law says that the total amount of flux that is coming out of a closed surface, the total amount of flux that is coming out of this closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed. So which of the methods you will use to find the total charge out of these two methods? Which is the easier one? So you might be getting the answer. The answer might be hitting you that it is the to calculate the surface charge, the surface integral. Because surface integral we need to only integrate 2 dimensions, and in volume you need to integrate 3 dimensions. So it is better to integrate lesser dimensions. Like if you want to know that uh, what is the water content in a bottle. So one method is that you calculate the whole volume. Okay, one method is to calculate the whole volume. In that case, you will need the total dimension of that. And the second method is that you just calculate the means anybody says that just give me the this outer surface, what is the outer surface area, and I'll give you the total liquid content in the bottle. So that is the easier one, no? You just need to calculate the outer surface. So this is the same with here as well, that this Gauss law gave us the famous mathematician. He gave us this derivation, this mathematical tool to calculate the charge. What is that mathematical tool? That mathematical tool is integral ds dot ds gives you the total charge. So this is also called the Gauss law. Okay. So you need to calculate the electric flux density on the, it should be known uh, on on every point of this closed surface, on this closed surface, not inside. It should be on this closed surface. So we need to define ds on this closed surface, and we need to define the closed surface area. And if we just multiply them, integrate them throughout the closed surface, we will get the total charge. So we can use this formula to derive uh, some of the derivation which we did using our basic concept of electric field. So let us do for a point charge. Let me just talk about the point charge, but this will be critical. So just concentrate what I am doing. Okay. So it is very important to calculate the ds surface area. Okay. So if this is a charge, let us say this is a q charge, and we want to find an electric field at this p point. At this p point, we want to find the electric field. Okay. So what we need to do, we just need to take a Gaussian surface. Okay, so what is this Gaussian surface? This is the same closed surface which we are talking in the previous derivations. So this closed surface will have a unique property of symmetry. Will have a unique property of symmetry around this charge, like a sphere. If we talk about a sphere, just see all the surface points are equidistant with this q. No? All the surface on this, all the points on this surface of the sphere, the points are equidistant with q. So there is symmetry throughout around this q. So what we need to do, we need to just find out the electric field at this point P, like we did in our previous class. So we will use now the Gauss law. So in Gauss law, the main part is to calculate your ds, because we need to integrate. our uh, this this part we need to do. We need to see what is ds dot ds. Okay, so this is electric field density, and ds is a surface area. Now just see how we do here. So let us take a surface. So this, if you remember our spherical coordinate system, here we have to do our work in spherical coordinate system. So if you remember, so how are these the surface of this sphere is made? In what dimension? What are the dimensions which make this surface area? So let me remind you, there were three dimensions in the spherical coordinate system. It was r, the radial distance between this point with this q. This was r. Then there was a direction phi. What is this phi? Phi is the this r makes with our z axis. So this is our z axis, this is our x axis, and this is y axis. Okay, and another angle, that is theta. So what is theta? Theta is the angle between x-axis and the shadow of this vector r on this xy plane. So we can say this as to be r dash, which will be equal to what? R sine phi. Let's see this thing. So this r dash is what? R sine phi. No? This just check out that this I'm not interchanging this variable phi and theta. You need to check it, but the definition is here. So we need an angle between z and r, and we need an angle between x-axis and the shadow of this r. So to make this surface, just see, to make this differential surface, what we need to do? We need to calculate this surface. So this is having two arcs. One is in this direction, one is in this direction. So our theta and phi are making our outer surface. These two. These two is making our outer surface. Okay. So one of the dimensions you can make it easy. You can do it easily. That this dimension. So if we see this dimension, so what is this? This arc is how much? If we say that this angle is d phi. So what is this arc? As we have done earlier, if we need to calculate this arc, and this is the angle theta, and here is the arc, then what is this arc s? This arc s is equal to theta into r. Similarly, so one of this arc, this will be equal to r d phi, r and d phi. Okay, so one of the dimension is r d phi. Let me write it here. So one of the dimension is r d phi. What is the other dimension? other dimension is this thing. Okay, so let me complete that then. So what is this arc? This arc is same as this arc. So this arc and this arc are same. Now these two arc will be same. So this arc can be written as r sine phi d theta, isn't it? So this angle is d theta. So another dimension we got. So what is the now what is ds? So we can write here the ds here. Let me take this color. So your ds, the magnitude of just the ds. I'm talking just about the magnitude. So magnitude of this ds will be r into d phi into r sine phi d theta. Okay. So which will make what it will be? It will be ds will be equal to r square sine phi. This is very interesting. Yes, you need to concentrate a little bit. D phi d theta. This is r square sine phi d theta. And the whole surface of this closed surface is made of what is this how we can complete this whole closed surface area. If we go phi from phi will be from 0 degree to phi should extend from 0 degree to 180 degree. We have done this in our third our cycle coordinate system, and our theta will be what? Theta will be equal to 0 to 360 degree. Okay, and what is the direction of this ds? If you see, this ds will be having a normal that will be coaxial with your radius. This will be having a normal in the direction of radial vector. The direction will be radial direction, the direction of r. Okay, so we can get here our ds. So ds will be in the direction of ar. Okay, unit vector r. If we write it r, or let it write with ar, because we have written this as to be ar in our unit 1. So let us say that this is ar. Now just try to solve this. This is very easy. Now just try to solve this part. ds vector ds dot r square sine phi d phi and d theta. This will be equal to charge enclosed q, the total charge enclosed. Now this ds, what will be the direction of this ds? This is a dot product, and this is which direction? It is in ar direction. And if we see our electric field that is coming out of this point charge, that will also be in radial direction, isn't it? The electric field which is coming from a point charge, that is in radial direction. That is very is obvious thing. We have done this earlier. So now this ds vector, you can write it as ds and in the direction of ar vector. Okay, now just do this thing. We can change this closed integral. We can integrate our phi from 0 to pi and our theta from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so this will be your ds, and ds is same throughout this closed surface because it is equidistant from this our source charge q. So ds will be same everywhere. So what we can do, we can take this ds out of this integral. Okay, this ds can be taken out of this integral, and the remaining part we can integrate easily. Sin phi, d phi, and d theta. Okay, AR term can be uh, will be means the electric flux density AR when taken dot with the DS, the differential surface area AR, then they will become 1. So here we can write it as to be Q. Now theta is integral integrated from 0 to 2 pi. So d theta will be directly integrated. It will be 2 pi. We can write it as to be 2 pi. So ds into 2 pi. So the remaining is 0 to pi r square uh, sin phi d phi. This will become q. So this is a very simple derivative integral. So sin phi, what is the integral of sin phi? Is this of cos phi. So where we have to integrate from 0 to pi. So cos of phi is minus 1. So minus of minus 1 plus 1, and minus of cos 0, that is 1. So, so here we can write our final ds. So ds will be equal to q upon 2 pi into 2 r square. So we have missed r square now. Okay. Yes, we have missed r square. So r square can also be taken out. Okay. So this will be q upon 4 pi r square. Okay. So just we can divide it by epsilon. So electric field we can write it as to be ds upon epsilon naught, which will be q upon 4 pi r square epsilon naught, or let it write it as we have read it. So this will be epsilon naught r square, and in which direction? So in the direction of ds itself. This was in radial direction, so we can take it as to be in radial direction. So this is what the electric field. Okay, so we have used our Gaussian surface Gaussian law to derive electric field at a point P due to a point charge. So this is what we have to do uh, for other as well. So I will do one more for the line charge as well. So in line charge, you can understand that in line charges, uh, where is the symmetry? How we can take the symmetry? Where you can observe the symmetry. Will a sphere create a symmetry? Will in a sphere the charges will be equidistant from the surface? No. One symmetry that you can take is a cylinder. Sorry. So if you take a cylindrical surface, So this cylindrical surface will have a symmetry across this line. So you can see the electric field will be coming out of this surface. Okay, so it will be out of this surface. Okay, so this cylinder will create a line of symmetry. A surface, a closed surface. This cylinder will be having a closed surface that will be symmetric around this line charge. So now we can take again take this that electric flux density to be same on every point of this closed surface, cylindrical closed surface, and we can take that out of the integral and then directly integrate the ds part on the closed surface of the cylinder. That will be equal to a closed charge. So we will do that in our next class tomorrow, and we will work upon this a bit more so that we have a good grip on this a very good concept of Gaussian surface. Okay. So thank you for today. If any doubt, then you can raise that in the classroom or the YouTube platform.